Hello. All right. Welcome to Monday of my reset week. So basically, every quarter, I guess between every quarter, I take 2 weeks as what I call reset weeks. So I do rest a little bit during this time, but I also do a lot of other work. It's just work that I typically put off doing until this point in the year. What I do during this time is things like house maintenance, certain things that you don't need to do super regularly, but you probably should do semi-regularly, like maintaining your email inbox, sorting out files, both digital and not digital files. I clean my office during that time. And then the more kind of work-related things is that these 2 reset weeks are also the period where I do a lot of project management admin. So this is the time that I review what projects I worked on in the last quarter, what I managed to get done, what I didn't, how that kind of worked, did something go wrong, do I need to try things a little differently, and then think about what projects do I need to take on for the next quarter, what kind of stage do I want them to be at by the end of the quarter, and how am I going to go about doing that? One of the big things that I do during this time is renew a schedule. I'm somebody who really likes and works well with a good schedule, but I get bored of the schedule very quickly. So I need to have a schedule that's different every day, but also that then changes every quarter. Because if I then start doing, even if it's a different thing every week or every day of the week, but then that's the structure of the week for 3 months, I start getting really bored by about the 4th month and the 5th month, and then I give it up. So by actually having time set aside during these reset weeks to kind of completely change up my schedule, so then I have a set, strict schedule, but it only works for 3 months, I find that it actually really works for me. I know that it's odd, but it's what my brain needs. So that's going to be also part of what we're doing this week. So today is Monday of the first reset week. I'm only going to be recording the first one because I do most of this work during that first week, and then the second week is a lot more slow progress. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of just kind of chill time. I like spending the time reading and kind of partaking and consuming information. Today is Monday. It is currently 10:30 in the morning. I have spent a bit of time already this morning doing some of my tasks. I do a lot of meal prep stuff. Typically this is quite normal for me on a Monday, but I've taken on a lot more than I normally would for this week because it's my reset week. So I've already done 2 sets of meal preps. I'm going to be doing a bit more tomorrow because I wanted to have at least a little bit of time. We did a little bit of that already today, a little bit of the meal prep. So today, I think what I want to do is get my office a bit more sorted. Right now, it is a mess. So let me show you what my office looks like. All right, so we're gonna start at my desk. I literally just picked up my camera and moved it. So this stand is actually what the camera was standing on while I was recording myself just now. So that's pretty easy to move away. But as you can see, I've got kind of plants everywhere because the weather has been really hot, so I've been opening windows when I can, so I moved a lot of the plants that are normally on the window, like this guy and this guy who probably needs to just get thrown out. I kind of threw them on my desk. My desk is still messy from the last time I was recording a podcast. This is my plant light, and it's affixed here, so there's no moving it, but that is normally on a stand, so we're going to try to figure that out. These shelves are a disaster. This one's pretty decent, but like these two are just a mess. I also have an extra shelf, so I'm thinking of adding another shelf onto this because I have a lot of books all over the place, which you'll see in a second. So these are my bookshelves. As you can see, I've got books kind of just pulled out. I've got ones shoved on top. These are a mess. So like, I just need to kind of reorganize it. I have these things, so obviously this is a mess. There's just stuff everywhere. I also have, this drawer was all of my washi tape, and it used to be super organized, but I dropped the drawer at one point and now they are absolutely not organized. So I wouldn't mind reorganizing those and getting those back into some semblance of order. Basically, my office, that's my extra shelf, so we're gonna put that away. Basically, my office has become both my office as well as my place for all of my hobbies. So I've got my bow is, oh, there he is, back there. And all of my archery equipment is here. So I've got my arrows and stuff. I've got a load of sewing things here that need kind of putting together, because the idea is that my desk would become my sewing table, which obviously it's not very suited to that at the moment. I also have these really big monsteras. Now, I am going to probably get rid of these guys. I have been propagating them. So I have this one here, and then the one that's over behind on that plant light that you saw. Basically, I don't know how much of this I'm going to get done today. I'm hoping all of it, but I tend to hope very highly for myself. But we're going to try to do as much as we can in here to get it sorted. So I'm probably going to work on that until about 12:30, so that'll be 2 hours. Then we'll break for lunch, and then we'll kind of go for a walk because I need to pick up some stuff at the store. And then we'll kind of assess at that point where we're at, what we've done, and see what else there needs doing. So let's do it. All right, it is noon and I finished up this whole bit of the office. There's some stuff on my desk that I need to take downstairs and sort out. I haven't done the plants yet, but I think I'm gonna go for a walk and grab some stuff from the shops, and then we'll come back, eat some lunch, deal with plants. I think that's the plan. Let's do it. Oh shit. That's some rude pounding. Oh fucking hell. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. The last thing was a bit painful. I love my Monstera so much. The two that I had were from the same plant. I bought it when it was just like 3 leaves. And I've had it for years. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh. Well, let's get some plant light up. Just the one up here, and then that way I can really make sure that the propagations get the light that they need and desire. So we'll see how long the desk lasts, but we cleaned up a lot of this stuff. We added the extra shelf, reorganized some stuff, got all the books actually in a place. We tidied things up. The washi tape drawer is now reorganized. Maybe not as well as it was before, but that's fine. And then look at this side, all clean, all organized. We got a plant light. I moved Jeffrey over here, but maybe we'll move him back. Oh shit, my bow. Hold on. There we go. So I put Jeffrey here. I did have him on the corner of my desk here, but I didn't know if it was a little bit too big. So we're gonna play around with where Jeffrey goes. We're gonna figure him out. But for right now, I put him there. And yeah, the next one will be sorting out cable management because this is a mess, but I think that's a challenge for a different day. But yeah, look at that. Good morning and welcome to Tuesday. It is currently 9:20-ish. We are going to be focusing a lot more today on the project management stuff. So there's a lot of steps to this. I don't know how interesting this is going to be to people. So I'll be semi-brief, but also semi-detailed. I'll walk the line. I'll walk the line in between for those who might find it interesting and those who might not. I don't know what else to do. The first steps of this is to essentially look back on the previous quarter. So looking back on quarter 2 of the year, so March, April, May, and figure out kind of what worked for me, what didn't work for me, what went wrong, what went right, you know, that kind of reflection-y stuff we're gonna do. From that, we're going to start looking into next quarter. Now, I already have a semi-idea of what I want to do next quarter, but first I need to make sure that it's a good idea based off of last quarter, because last quarter did not go well. I moved during last quarter in about April, and I basically had to take off from mid-April to mid-May from doing any amount of work. I thought I would only have to take off like 2 weeks to, like, you know, pack up, move, unpack, we're good. But because there were so many things wrong with the house and issues that were going on, I ended up having to take a lot of time to deal with them because I work from home. So I'm a good point of contact. As opposed to my husband, who has like a normal job that he has to go in for, and that also he had already had to take off quite a few days during both the packing and moving and for actually finding a place. So he didn't really have a lot of time to take off. So basically it all kind of fell to me, which means that I ended up not really getting as much done during this quarter as I could. Now, I could chalk that up to, you know, it's an outlier, but at the same time, I think it's important to still factor in things like that because life is messy and life has outliers. And if you keep saying, oh, well, that was just because of this one big thing, every quarter is going to have some big thing. Every quarter is going to have something going on, something that disrupts, something that happens. You just have to figure out the best strategy of dealing with them. And maybe my strategy of dealing with it wasn't the best. So that's the kind of thing we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to do that first, is just kind of looking back. So I have my bullet journal, which I use on a daily basis. It also has some of my notes for the previous quarter. So I can review kind of where I did things, where I pushed stuff off, what stuff I pushed off, because that's an important thing to also keep in mind, is when push came to shove, which projects fell on the back burner, because that's an important bit of data to know when you're thinking about this kind of stuff. I also have just a general notes book. This is just a scribbly notebook for me to write my notes on all of that reflection-y stuff. So I think that's what we're gonna do first. And then we're going to start figuring out, looking ahead based off of that knowledge. So we're gonna do the review first. So yeah, let's do it. I just remembered I was going to take a social media post of this process, so we're gonna... You get the inside scoop of my desk not actually being perfectly planned like this. So we're gonna... I think that's what we're gonna do. Hold on. There we go. Alright, that might be enough. Alright, back to it. Now I actually have to do the thing that I was pretending I was doing in social media post. Alright. think I'm done with that. These are my notes. I'm gonna get more tea. I might have to make another pot because I don't know how good that pot's still going to be. And then we'll go on to the next step. Oh, all right. So the next step is, okay, so last quarter I did 6 projects, of varying levels of requirement on my time. I guess that's, I phrased it as intensity, but that sounds really weird. Like, I don't know, like I'm sweating while writing, but you know what I mean? Like levels of amount of necessity. I think the limit on projects works. I think the way that I balanced it was pretty good. I had a good balance, I think, of levels of intensity. It wasn't like loads of projects that were all really intense. And I think that's something I'm gonna have to keep in mind as I continue going on, is as certain projects require more on my time, I can't just leave them. So projects, kind of writing projects, particularly really long form ones, go through kind of waves of necessities on your time. So in the research stage, it's very loosey-goosey. When I get to field work, it tends to heighten the amount of energy that is required of me. Then, you know, planning it all, outlining it all, that kind of isn't as intense. Writing it is kind of middle, I would say. Editing can be a bit much. You know, it kind of goes through these flows. So you can't just kind of be like, well, this project is always going to be midline. Because sometimes it's, you know, a quarter is only so small of a window, right? That like, particularly for like really long projects, like 4-year research nonfiction books, you know, from quarter to quarter, it might not change that much until suddenly something happens, and now suddenly it's way up. So having to make sure that I keep myself in check by ensuring that before I add it to my list that it is still of the same intensity. I think that's something I'm going to have to start thinking about, because I haven't been. It's always just like, well, this project isn't that much, I'll throw it on. Particularly when it comes to incidental mythology, which is a brand that I write under, which is pop culture and mythology stuff, which is kind of everything I do as a nonfiction writer, but a lot of the online presence of it, I use the brand Incidental Mythology. It's my other YouTube channel that I do video essays under, and my Substack is Incidental Mythology as well, because I do a lot of the same stuff. As of the start of July, which this will come out, I think, in July, I'm going to be starting to post that every single Tuesday at 5. I'm going to be doing a post under Incidental Mythology. So I'm going from only doing one video essay a month to now I'm writing a video essay every month and having to put that together, plus doing these posts every Tuesday. The amount of time that I have necessarily put away for incidental mythology is going to be different for next quarter. So that's something I have to keep in mind. I also found that I really haven't been putting aside time to like do social media scheduling and posting, to do, as well as doing edits for the podcast that I run, which is, I'm a fan of that. You should go check that out. I do the edits for it. So putting aside time for editing that and putting aside time for editing the vlogs are both things that I haven't done. I just haven't arranged for that in the schedule. So I think those are things that I need to work on. I have some ideas of what projects I think I want to take on, but it's more than I was initially planning on taking on, especially because at the time that I was thinking about it, incidental mythology was still just the video essays. And I was really amazingly on top of incidental mythology when I was doing it for about an hour and a half twice a week. So that's about 3 hours a week that I was working on it. No, it was more than an hour and a half. That makes sense. About 5 hours a week spent on it. That makes more sense. So I was a lot more on top of incidental mythology when I was doing it for 5 hours a week, but that was when it was just video essays. I had time to do research reading and kind of some of the more kind of consumer stuff for it, and then also being able to write and edit and do all the stuff for the essay. However, I'm gonna need to extend that time, and that wasn't something that I factored in when I was initially thinking about what was going to be coming up next. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I need to really think about. I think I need to do some thinking first and like brainstorming, and then I can kind of consider then what I'm gonna do with my schedule, because I need to figure out whether I can fit all of these projects into a schedule that makes sense, that allows me to succeed. Because if I basically have set myself up for failure, then that's not a good way of doing it. So yeah, I think I need to really consider from all this stuff that didn't work, the stuff that did work, because it's important to keep in mind what does work. But keeping in mind what does work, tying into what didn't work, maybe looking at what didn't work and figuring out what to try for this next quarter to maybe amend that. Maybe that's what I'll do, and then I'll look at the projects that I'm thinking of taking on, because I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh! Okay, I think I have the rough skeleton now of what's going to work. It is now about 2:30. So yeah, 2:30. I think that was pretty good. That was a detailed session. I think today was probably the most intense that this week is going to be, just because it's a lot of planning, project management. It's important, it's a thing. But anyway, so I think I have it at least relatively organized now in a way that makes sense and is sorted and all of that. I know it's only 2:30, but it is reset week, which means that I rest for the remainder of the day, do some sketching and reading and chilling and that kind of thing, and journaling, but we're just gonna vibe for the rest of the day. Good morning. It's Wednesday. It is currently 9 o'clock. Ooh, shit, it's 9? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. It's a tiny bit later than I thought it was going to be. So let me explain a little bit about what is going to be going on today. I had a shift this morning. I work a kind of part-time job, and during my shift this morning, I hit my hand on something, and I have a feeling it's gonna start bruising like here. It's a pretty chill day, mostly because of yesterday being as intensive thought-wise and planning-wise as it was. I host an author group. We meet once a month. It's typically the last Wednesday of the month. We just all get together and drink coffee at a local coffee shop and complain about things and check in with each other and all that kind of stuff, and just have lovely chats. So we're doing that today. I typically spend quite a lot of time there just because I like to get there early, so that way no matter when other people start arriving, there's the friendly face there. They know where they're going. You know, people are automatically greeted. They're not sat by themselves for a bit. And then I also like to leave with the last people. So again, I don't want to leave anyone kind of stranded. So I tend to be there for quite a lot of the day. So we're gonna aim to get to the coffee shop at about 10:30-ish. And we're probably going to be there until about 1:30. I want to swing by some charity shops because I want to look at books, but I'm not going to do like the whole charity shop circuit. I'm only going to go to like maybe 2 in order to check out what books they have because I'm on the scope for something. And then we're going to come home. We're going to then edit a podcast episode because it's coming out for the patrons on Friday this week. And I totally forgot that I was supposed to do that. I should have done that on Monday. But anyway, doesn't matter. We're doing it today. So that's just the only things that are on the schedule today is we're going to go to the author meet and then we're going to edit a podcast. So enjoy Wednesday. Good morning. It's Thursday. I'm sorry I'm not wearing any makeup today. Well, that's not true. I mean, it's true that I'm not wearing makeup. It's not true that I'm sorry. I'm very much not sorry. Just wasn't feeling it today. Some days I don't feel it. Some days I want to, deck out my face and put on lipstick, and some days I don't. I'm a complicated human. Anyway, today's stuff is file management. We're gonna go through emails and sort it out so that way my inbox is pretty clear on my two different email accounts that I have, my one business, my personal. I'm going to go through the filing. So I've got a digital filing cabinet and a physical filing cabinet. So we're gonna go and sort out both of those. And then I don't know what's after that. We're gonna figure it out. It's been like half an hour and I'm already done with it all. I took last quarter's reset week, I went through and did all of this for the first time. I organized the paper filing because it was a mess. I created the digital file folder and had to migrate a load of stuff there. And it was the first time I had sorted through my emails in probably a couple of years. So those, last quarter, it took me 2 to 3 days to do all of that. And so I was like, okay, this might take me a long time. And it took me 20 minutes. That's a lesson to you in keeping up with things. So it's only 10 o'clock. So I'm thinking that now I'm going to schedule a load of social media posts. And I have a newsletter that I need to schedule as well, I believe. Yeah, so I need to schedule a newsletter. I need to schedule a couple of different social media posts. And yeah, so we're gonna do that. Some of them I still need to take the photo of in order to stage, so you're gonna see the fake behind the scenes of that. And then we're gonna just go and schedule a load of social media things that I need to schedule. So yeah, that's it. Ooh, okay. So I have scheduled like, I think it was 5 social media posts, which I'm starting to actually take my social media a bit more seriously, which means I'm posting like 4 times a week now. Yes, 4 times a week now. So anyway, so I scheduled about 5 posts or so. I did my newsletter, which is coming out tomorrow, and yeah, I think that's what I did. So it is currently 11:35. I might take a very short break, and then this afternoon I am thinking that I might work on some bullet journal spreads for July. So yeah, artsy fartsy stuff this afternoon. I ran out of space on my camera, so all the files are moving over at the moment, and it's gonna take like 3 hours. But I'm working on this. Look at it. Isn't it nice? Yep. So I'm just gonna finish this for today, and then yeah, that'll be the day done. Hello. I'm in a rush. I'm gonna go grab a thing. Hold on. Alright. Alright. Let me explain what's happening. Also, good morning. Welcome to Friday. I am running a tiny bit late because I am baking a cake downstairs and it's taking a little bit longer to cook than I would have liked. So I kind of pushed my luck a tiny bit, but it's still under, so now I'm just late for no reason. This morning am going to be recording a podcast episode with my friend Holly Swinyard. We've had some technical difficulties the last couple of times that we've tried to record. So far, it was basically just some audio problems, but then in the last one we lost their side of the episode. So we're gonna see how we do today. No guarantees. Where's my microphone? There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and set up and hop on the call, and then I'm probably gonna go back and check on the cake a bit before we start in. And then I think we're gonna do some test runs just to make sure everything's running smooth before we lose another episode, because that would be annoying. So aside from this like mess, I don't have too much left to do today as far as the tasks on my reset week. As far as the tasks on my reset week are concerned, I think we're gonna try to take it easy this afternoon, but first I have to do this. Cool. All right, microphone. And all right, I'm gonna go check on cake, and then we'll do this. Yes. All right. Oh, yeah, well, because I'm going to I'll put out the genre one. It's true crime this Friday, today / Monday. And then, all right, and it is picking up your microphone. Okay, cool. Oh, no. Oh no! I think Holly just dropped. Oh, alright, there we go. all is fine with the world. We're fine. We're okay. We're doing okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So the reason why I don't play a lot of spooky games is that a large majority of them are first person. And I know, I don't think Silent Hill is, but, well, the newer one was, like 7 was? Oh, that's Resident Evil. Jesus Christ. But I think Silent Hill, like the early ones weren't, like but some of the newer ones, for example, it's kind of become a very classic part of the genres to have it be first person, and I get motion sick. Now that that's over, we can have like an actual chat. I don't know why I'm so scatterbrained today. Oh my god, I just don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, I was looking through my list of things that I prefer doing during this reset week, and basically, I think because the email and file stuff was so fast, I thought that would be like one day, or that would be like a whole thing that I'd have to do a different thing today. But yeah, so like next week, the only thing that I'm having to do is basically edit another podcast episode, which I could do today, so I don't have to do it next week, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. So I don't have very many things on that list, and that's because I want next week to be actual rest week, so I take time to watch some movies. I have a list going. I am going to be reading a lot of both nonfiction and fiction, and going to be just enjoying my time and resting and relaxing, and having a little bit of a break before I get into the next quarter. So I'm going to kind of be fading into that, I think. And I decided I'm going to take myself out for like a lunch, brunch. I don't know. I haven't quite decided what I want to eat yet. And I am going to be taking a book with me. It is a book. I have it on here. This isn't a book. This is a pad. But I have it on there. and I'm going to take notes and stuff on it because it's a nonfiction book that I've been meaning to read for a really long time called A Vindication of the Redhead. And it's a kind of detailed study of redheads in mythology and pop culture and kind of what their treatment has been and why, and kind of what kind of symbolism the redhead has come to embody. And I have been wanting to read it for a really long time, and I just don't have a particular project that it's going to be related to. I don't have anything in mind for it. I don't have any purpose for it. I just want to read it. And it's really hard sometimes to get around to reading things that you don't have to read when you have to like do a load of actual reading for research. So you end up putting it off and putting it off. So I am going to be reading that today, and I'm intending on continuing to read it next week, as well as reading a couple of other books like that has been on my list for quite a while that I just haven't gotten around to. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go to some kind of restaurant or coffee shop. I am going to read that and take some notes and enjoy my time, and that is going to be my Friday. And I am very looking forward to it. Thank you. Hello. I bought a new lip stain while I was out, so continuity issue. That's why I was trying it out. What do you think? I don't know if it's that different than my other ones. Anyway, anyway, I think that's going to be it for me for today and it for this whole week. I can't believe I actually managed to record for the whole week. I'm probably gonna spend the rest of today icing a cake that I baked this morning and continuing to read that book because it was really interesting, and maybe playing some video games. And then next week I've got a growing list of things to watch. Reading that book made me want to start adding things onto my list of stuff to watch so that way I can relate some of the things that I was reading to some pop culture stuff. So yeah, I think that's it from me for today. I'm just gonna kind of enjoy the rest of today, enjoy next week, kind of take it slow and easy for that time period. Thanks for being with me for Reset Week. I know it was a bit different than normal, less writing and research and more just kind of planning and doing things, but I just kind of wanted you to see all sides of everything that was going on. I know a couple of other people do reset weeks. I don't know if anyone ever does 2 weeks. I've seen people do 1 before, but maybe I'm a slightly self-indulgent for giving myself 2. Anyway, it is getting very warm, so I am going to open up some windows and relax for a little bit. Thank you for being with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!